Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. I have so much to share with you today, mindfulness. If you're wondering, for those who are regular subscribers, why I've been away, I'm going to give you a reason. I have been doing for the last 2 months, actually more than 2 months because there was the Christmas holidays break, of retraining my mind on mindfulness. And I wished I actually wasn't even using the word mindfulness because it's not just about the mind. However, let's spring off from there. This is going to be a jam-packed information actualization program that you can achieve and do in your life that will actually make changes if you do the work and make it happen. If you live in a city where you actually have access to programs such as MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, or it could be mindfulness-based self-compassion or mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, I would strongly suggest, if you can, doing this in a group setting because 1, you get accountability, 2, you get to actually hear from others who maybe voice concerns you have or in a way you're not really aware of, and it's just helpful to share ideas and springboard with other people. Although I know there are many places, and this is why I'm creating this video to share with people in the world, there are many people who live in small cities or small towns or places where they don't have access to this, or they don't have the money, they don't have the resources. And by the way, if you happen to have medical insurance, this can be covered by it. I don't, maybe you do. Little information. Let's get into it. By the end of this, you are really going to have changes that, notice, doesn't mean everything gets better and it's a magical, wonderful universe. Not necessarily, no. You still have to live life. Sorry about that. But get your notes out wherever you're taking it. Writing it down, putting it in your phone, your tablet, your iPad, whatever, your computer. Here we go. I'm going to get right into each session and then try and do a recap at the end. And we'll just go. So I'll start by saying I'm so thankful to the Mindfulness Center in Toronto, Canada, is where I personally practice this. I had 2 instructors. There's one who's a doctor, and there's one who is what do they call it, like psychotherapist. And we all do the program of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. The reason why I'm sharing this, I was a bit hesitant at first because I don't know about copyrights kind of things. However, this is not something they have created. It's in books by Zinn. I'll put the name of him down below, some links and resources, because I did some research after the program. But just get into this, don't research it too much, and just have fun with this. Here we go. This is what you're going to do for week 1. It's an 8-week program. The first week, I'm going to look into notes because, like I said, it's a program. It's not just me talking, going, well, this and that. I'm actually going to demonstrate it for you. All right, and the reason why we're doing this is because how many people live on autopilot? Are you always aware? Do you always have to be aware? No. Living life fully and in new ways. This is 2020. This may be not new to some of you. Some of these practices I actually had done before I started this program, such as a body scan, which I'll get into in a sec. However, there's a new way of experiencing it and approaching it that can get us to live in different ways and not necessarily be victim's not the right word, other ways to cope and deal with maybe uncomfortable feelings or situations such as depression, anxiety, whatever that is for you. And I hope this helps you. I know that it has helped me. All right, here we go. Session 1. Awareness versus automatic pilot. Awareness and automatic pilot. What does that mean? Okay, so automatic pilot, we're not necessarily aware that what we're doing or where our thoughts are going and all these things. You have so many thoughts a day. You're not going to be aware all the time. Granted, that's living life, right? Allow versus fix-it mode. Can we allow our experience to be what it is? Now, does that mean that we should accept uncomfortable situations and not speak up? Hell no! Hell no! However, allowing is a lot easier than always feeling that you have to fix things and that you always have to change things. You'll notice changes in the brain. A lot of what they say And they said, and the first thing is, this is the mindfulness joke. What did you notice? I'll say that a bit louder in case you didn't notice. What did you notice? That's it. What did you notice? Thoughts? Feelings? Body sensations? Happy, sad, glad? Pain in my feet? I passed gas? I notice nothing at all. I don't feel anything, neutral. Maybe that's there. These are the programs you're going to do for 1 week. So you choose a day you're going to start. I did mine on Wednesdays as an example. So choose Wednesdays as the day you're going to start to do it. And I want you to document every day to record this as something they call home practice, homework. So you're going to every day do one mindful meal, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you in a second. So the mindful meal is, I chose breakfast because that's the first one of the day, easier to get started, where you're going to be mindfully experiencing it. With the mindful meal, you can imagine that you've never experienced this before. And I'll demonstrate right now. Here is my morning green smoothie. Now, I'm noticing this is speeding it up, so please slow it down. If you find that you don't have time in the morning or do want to do it in the evening, then do it in the evening, but at least schedule 5 minutes. Mindful meal. Here's an example. I'm noticing the cool feeling of it in my hands, the smoothness in the glass. It's interesting, I'm noticing my mind slow down, which is really good for me. Those who are super fast thinkers, maybe you're intuitive. I'm noticing the color of the green inside the glass. It's interesting that I look at the patterns in the glass and it almost reminds me today of a stained glass window. Very poetic. You're engaging all your 5 senses. If you want to use your 6th sense, intuition too, you can do that. 5 senses, so we're looking at touch, taste, so I'm going to taste it. And you notice like the orange in that. I can taste the orange. I can taste a small hint of cloves as a background flavor. The texture felt very smooth. I feel it on my tongue. How does it sound? Do I hear anything? You know, it may sound funny, but when I put my ear into the glass, to me it sounds like the ocean. You notice the green color of the actual smoothie? I notice there's like air bubbles popping up, like this is like my magic potion, which it is. I noticed the little particles, and it almost looks like space. Like a galaxy of different little stars inside. I know, see your star, that's my name. I had to put that out there, but I really did notice this before. Smell. It smells like Christmas to me. It smells like a sweetness. The bitterness of the kale in there, almost a small, like peppery note, but mainly the sweetness, and I almost can feel like I smell the strawberries in there, but I don't know if I'm making that up in my mind, but it's just interesting. It smells wonderfully fresh. And so you would slow that down, but there's an example of a mindful meal. Just do that every day for 1 week. Now, there's another 2 other things you're going to do. You're going to do a mindful activity. I chose brushing my teeth in the morning. Actually, it was in the evening when I did it. And I decided to, with that, be flossing, because I wanted to increase healthy habits, is flossing. And to me, that would be noticing it. So you take your toothbrush, and same thing, engaging the senses. You look at the toothbrush. What does the toothbrush feel like? Do you notice the different colors on it? Imagine you've never seen this before. What is this thing that I'm using? We're so used to it in our mind of what we define things to be. What does this look like? What does this sound like? I noticed when I pushed the bristles, to me it sounded like horses galloping in the snow during Christmas, maybe because it was before Christmas time. That's where my mind went. I don't know. I noticed the smell of the toothpaste, the feel and the taste of it in my mouth. It doesn't mean you have to like or dislike the experience. It's just noticing what's coming up in the thoughts, feelings, And if your mind wanders while this happens, it's okay. Just bring it back to the item that you're looking at. Bring it back to that. So you're doing one healthy habit. It can be any habit really, but that's something that you do regularly, preferably at the same time. Let me give you one other thing that you may notice. When I did my mindful meal, I noticed it wasn't even just the experience of, okay, I'm noticing the different thoughts and tastes of the meal, but actually I would notice how much other people will try and take our attention away. That'd be a friend, your roommate, family member, or your coworker, or just people in life, how much people really try and gather your energy and want your attention. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I noticed that a lot. It's something I forgot, and I'm reminding myself now, is really looking at, interesting. The next thing you're going to do is a body scan for this week. The body scan, there are many versions of it. You can find one online if you don't join a program or mindfulness program. Is the body scan of noticing from your feet, and you can imagine going up, scanning up the body. Preferably find one that's around 20 to 30 minutes would be my ideal for you. And again, you're going to write down your experiences. If you find your mind wandering, you can just bring it back to your breath. It'll say in the mindfulness thing that you find on body scans. And again, the reason we're doing this is just being aware. And I find it actually can be very relaxing. It can be so relaxing that a lot of people can almost fall asleep. So if you find lying down is not working for you, whether you have a yoga mat or doing it on your bed, you can do this sitting in a chair, whatever comfort is for you. Just do it, be it. Have fun with it. And you're going to do this for a week. Session 2 is living in our heads. Our heads, our brains, zombie. Anyone? Regardless of what happens, is just keep practicing. We notice our thoughts wander, and we bring our attention back to the breath again and again, to breathing. Simply noticing again and again, bringing our attention back to my voice, to my breath. Be feeling the cool air in your nose, breathing out the warmer air going out of your nose. Maybe you never noticed that before. Breathing through your abdomen or through the diaphragm area. Feeling the chest move in and out. Breathe through there. Through your mouth. Whatever way you want to do it. But this week, we're looking at how our thoughts and emotions and body sensations are linked. So our thought can be linked to a feeling, and our feeling linked to how will we behave or something that we feel in our body. Now we're going to add in a new thing. Again, you can find this online, or I really recommend joining a program. It is a 10-minute breathing awareness exercise. You're going to do this every day. So 10 minutes of breathing, just being aware of the breath. That's all it is. Something as simple as that. You can start by noticing general state of the body, what you're thinking, and then when you feel comfortable, focus on the breath. You can do this for 10 minutes. That's it, just 10 minutes. Again, if you could do it at the regular time, great. If you find you only do it in the evening, fine. Just do it every day. This is what one of the instructors says. If you go hang out at the gym, but you only have a cup of coffee, and you go, this isn't working, why not? Well, because you just hang out and had a cup of coffee. So if you're not going to apply it and try it, fine. And it's not about perfection. There are some days I missed it. I didn't almost every day, but there's one day I missed it. Maybe I felt overwhelmed that day. Maybe I was working too. There was things coming up, work, whatever. Hey, life happens. But you get out of it what you put into it. So it works if you keep on working it. All right, so now that we have the awareness of breathing, which you're going to be doing for the next week, week 2, the next home practice, homework, is you're going to notice pleasant events. Pleasant events, that one's fun. So these are the things you're going to notice. What did I experience? Was I aware? How was my body feeling? Were there emotions? What thoughts? And then as you recorded this, what were the thoughts that you thought when you were doing it? Here's an example of a pleasant experience. I won on the lottery ticket today. Somebody got me one for Valentine's Day. Isn't that nice? Happy Valentine's Day, or whenever you're watching this. Is to notice, okay, pleasant experience. What was the experience? The experience was won money in the lottery ticket. Was I aware of the pleasant experience? Actually, usually I am, but I don't know if I was aware. How did my body feel? I noticed a light smile on my face. And I felt feeling, again, the emotions was, I felt elated, surprised, a happy surprise. Because I did notice I had the thought before of like, I used to win on lottery tickets. It'd be nice to win again. How come I don't seem to win on them? And then I did win. So that was really interesting. The thoughts I just shared with you. And now the thoughts as I'm sharing it with you now was, isn't it interesting that the most times the pleasant experiences, not all of them, sometimes I'm aware and I can make that pleasant experience happen with myself just because I want to feel good. But often a lot of pleasant experience has an element of surprise for me. And usually it's a light smile. Sometimes a feeling here too. Okay, so there you go. There's a pleasant experience. You just record it as much as you can during the day. And no perfection. And then just notice what you did later. Maybe you may not notice till later in the day, like, oh my God, pleasant experience. Good, you notice. Good noticing. Another thing I found interesting is that pleasant events, sometimes we're not aware and our mind can get carried off when we're feeling good. And that's okay that happens. It's just knowing, oh, I'm thinking too much about the future. Like, woo, maybe you meet somebody and you're really interested in them. Oh my God, I'm planning a future with them and blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey, hold on a sec, we're here now. So there's your homework. You're going to do recap session 2. If you want to continue a mindful meal, that's up to you. I would still continue with the mindful activity. You're going to do the 10 minutes of breathing and notice pleasant events. That's it. Do it for another week. That's your second week. Week 3 is gathering the scattered mind. Where are you? Where are you, mind? Oh my goodness. Here is one of the most powerful things I found actually through the program. There are so many things. Is 3-minute breathing space. It's a really good one. It's a quick check-in, really powerful. Here it is. Find a version online if you can. Schedule it 3 times a day, like 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m. Adjust it to your times. Schedule it on your phone. Do it every single day, and you will change the neural pathways in your brain. The first minute, noticing thoughts, emotions, body sensations. Example, feeling irritable maybe, or feeling neutral. Thoughts of thinking of to-dos or the past, or discomfort of my feet are digging into the ground, or there's noises going on and other people are talking and I'm trying to record this for other people and distractions are happening. I'm feeling irritable and I'm just wanting to do this. Second minute, noticing your breath. Doing that, in and out. In the third minute, the overall state of your body. Maybe you'll notice that as you brought attention to the discomfort in your body, that actually lessens a little bit. And we're not trying to change, it's just being with the experience, being aware, and you starting to change the neural pathways of your brain, not automatic pilot. That's the big thing. One of the most important ones that I found is actually making a big difference. So trying that. Now that we did that last week, noticing the pleasant experiences, we're going to do the unpleasant experiences. That's a fun one, isn't it? Noticing, again, what was the experience? So, other people talking right now. Let's look at that. Other people talking. And noticing that I have thoughts of I'm just really wanting to record this so bad and share this with you. And that I'm feeling a bit frustrated of I really, really want to share this really badly. And I am very aware that it's unpleasant right now. I am aware. Were you aware, yes or no? And the thoughts, I know that other people have a life. As I'm record the experience, I would be recording this somewhere. I just have to choose a better time to do this. Maybe. And give myself a break and that it's okay. This was a wonderful reminder for me. Even though I knew this, it was really helpful. One of the instructors mentioned was, this is not about having a peace pill. It's not a, oh my God, everything is amazing. Which is why I helped, before I even took this program again, I talk about these things in my book, Easy Enlightenment, Transforming Life in 30 Days. There are other ways. Mindfulness is not the only way in life. It's just one tool. As we'll continue to explore the tools as we go through the sessions. Keep that in mind. Now, for this week, and then you're in the third week, every day, you're going to do the 3-minute breathing space 3 times a day. Schedule it on your phones. Example, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m. Adjust it an hour or two, whatever, to your liking. But do it 3 times a day. You're changing the neural pathways in your brain to respond and live life differently. Learning to be with these sensations. So often we run away from them. We'll get into other ways. It doesn't mean we have to be in that sensation all the time. And the most important reminder is I don't have to like it. And there's so much power in that. Okay, I'm feeling pissed off that my work is not giving me work when other people are getting it. Doesn't mean you have to like the feeling that you feel. But being aware of the discomfort and not trying to avoid, I feel pissed off, or I feel tired, or this. Okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. Does it mean that's who I am now? And there's a difference between noticing discomfort is here, or I am pissed off, or anger is here. There's a difference. You're going to notice the unpleasant experiences, same as before. But thoughts, emotions, were you aware of it? What did you think? Were the body sensations? And then when you recorded it after, what thoughts came there? Now the interesting thing I notice when I do this part is I notice my mind say, I don't want to just notice. I want to fix. And the funny thing is, the more you can be with these sensations, the actual changes, that it's not the goal is to change, the more you can just sort of go, okay, I don't have to fix things, I don't have to change things, I can just be with it, I can be with whatever comes up, is the goal. And reminder, if you have medical attention, I'm not a doctor, if you're seeking therapy and that's helping you, or you have medication that is helping you, then you do that, but I'm just showing you there are other ways to be. And a reminder, is the big one, is we are human, although I think we're more than human, but you get the message, we don't have to control, we don't have to have this perfection. And that's another reason I really wrote my book, Easy Enlightenment. It doesn't have to be what society imagines us to be, this perfect thing. We can give ourselves a break. It's not excusing, but giving a break and going, okay, noticing the sensation. It's just a sensation. You may feel that some days, you may feel it no days. But I noticed that come up, and that was really interesting. It's like, noticing sensation. It doesn't mean it's true, but it's there. It could be based on your habits and programming. They mentioned is just get curious. When they've said this, just get curious, I had a lot of resistance at first. I was like, just get curious? Yeah, okay, I'm really curious. If I do that too much, then my train of thought starts spiraling. I'm feeling upset because of this, and then why am I thinking about this? And then, I'm curious, what's that about? That's one way. But another thing, curious of like, I'm feeling this. Isn't that interesting? What's going on with that? Or maybe something pissed off and go, it's sort of like a pattern interrupt, like Tony Robbins, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, for those who are into that. It's like this. Well, that was interesting. You can use humor. Like, wow, okay. It's not about stopping it, but I noticed when I would use humor, that was like, I'm getting pissed off. That's really interesting. And you can kind of challenge yourself. I found that really fun. So just getting curious. You can take that where you want. The next week is recognizing aversion. No cameras, no autographs. Excuse me. So I led into this a second ago when I was talking about not wanting to be with this feeling. These thoughts coming up. No, I don't want to think this or feel this. Okay, so it's just being with that. How are we going to be with that? How are we going to try things differently? We're becoming aware and we're freeing ourselves. Remember I talked about automatic pilot, the automatic ways. Not my words, these are theirs. We're responding in more skillful ways. 1, usually we will space out. Or 2, wanting to hold on to things like the past, or maybe it's a piece of clothing or a certain experience and wanting things to be a certain way. Or 3, you're wanting to push it away. No, get away from me. I don't want this experience. Get away. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think about that. Even though those places can have their time and their place, you have to use your balance, it actually can cause us more problems, because there's a saying, what we resist persists. And I've known that for a long time, although actually, even though I know that, I don't think it's really helped me. What really helped me this time, looking at things differently and being and actually doing the home practice, homework, exercises, all these things, is the more we allow the experiences to happen and going, okay, it's present, it's not that we're resisting, I have to feel it. It's sort of going, we have other choices in the experience of, okay, this is feeling, what do I do then? Maybe I want to go for a walk. Maybe I want a cup of tea. This is what one of the instructors mentioned to me, self-care love, because I noticed I kept resisting. My mind kept wanting to go to, I just want the perfect exercise. I want the perfect meditation, the perfect thoughts, the perfect feeling, or perfect is not the word, but I just want, okay, what do I have to do to make it go away? What do I have to do to refocus my mind? What do I have to do to get more centered or loving or feeling blah, blah, blah? And I'm sorry to tell you, there isn't a magic thing like that. Maybe there is for you. And I do mention there is one technique that is beyond mindfulness called the outside in, which is in my book, Easy Enlightenment, Transform Your Life in 30 Days, where it's actually different from mindfulness. So there are other tools and ways that I have that are different. But on the subject of mindfulness, again, we're not trying to change a version. We're staying present. Is don't underestimate your own power. That's what it said, and it's so true. Don't underestimate noticing during the day. There's informal practice. I wish they highlighted this more in the program, which they did, but again, we only have so much time. Usually the meetings, if you go to one, they're usually around 2 to 2.5 hours. You can go to one that's shorter, but I highly recommend going to them. Is even just during the day, take like 5 breaths. Okay, just now you start to become conscious. You can do that anywhere. Or it's maybe noticing when you lift your arm. Can you feel when you lift your arm? When you turn your head. When you smile, can you feel that? Little ways, little things you can do. Now this is where we start to notice when we're going at the uncomfortable. What are the most uncomfortable top thoughts that you have? Here are some. You can put your hand up. You ever feel this? It's not. Trying to change it, just go, okay, I think these things sometimes. None of these spiritual gurus talk about, hey, you know what? Sometimes I think or feel these things. Let's admit it. Let's do that. I will. 1, I worry I cannot control my thoughts as well as I like. How many do we say, well, we have to have this perfect thinking, or if I just meditate enough, or if I just do this? Number 2, I worry about not being able to handle problems in life like others do. How many times are we comparing, especially with social media, Facebook? Oh my God, how many stories in people's life are we going like all the time? You don't know what they're not posting, what's going on in their real life, so give yourself a break. But just notice that those thoughts come up. Again, we're not trying to change, just interesting, okay? Or how about life is not going the way I want to? There's some automatic thoughts. Or I can't finish anything. Or I can't film a video when I wanted to do it so badly and share with you. Okay, noticing that. So this is where we introduce the 3-minute responsive breathing space. This is also really big. It doesn't mean that it works every single time for you, but it's new ways of looking at it. So the 3-minute breathing space is very similar. The first thought, emotions, and body sensations for the first minute. Second minute, we go to our breathing. I recommend that you find this again. You can find an audio file online or whether place to download it. You can also join a mindfulness group, take a program. Really recommend it. And we're going to do, after the thoughts, emotions, body, and then the breathing, we're going to introduce the unpleasant experience. So bringing to mind something that is unpleasant. They talk about the 10-pound versus 100-pound weight. 10-pound weight might be like, oh, I haven't done anything today. I feel so unproductive. Versus 100-pound weight of, oh my God, I'm so worried about the bills and blah, 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 this person, and oh my God, my marriage is falling apart, or like, whoa, that might be a little too heavy right now, so just give yourself a break. And if you find that it's a bit too much, the uncomfortable sensations at first, I know there were times I was sitting and I was like, wanted to get out of the chair, and I was just like, oh my God, this, I don't want to feel this, I don't want to think this at first. You will get better with it. The more you practice it, it's like training wheels for your mind. Let's go back to your breathing. Just listen. Go back to your breathing, and then you look at the overall state of your being. And actually, it's usually more about 5 to 6 minutes and 3 to 5. And then you can choose other places to go from that. Then again, you might want to go for a walk. Maybe there's other mindfulness. Maybe you're doing other practices, which I'm going to keep sharing. So that's something you're doing for the week, while you're continuing to do the scheduled 3-minute breathing spaces, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m., or whatever similar to that works for you, scheduling it and doing it. Okay, again, remember, I can be with this. It's okay. Let me feel it. It's already here. Those things, so big, powerful, really interesting. Now here's the next one, it's a really big one, is 25 to 30 minute video or MP3, whatever you listen to, a sound file that you can start doing. Is called the BBSTE. Breath, body, sounds, thoughts, and emotions. When we get to the sound part, we're looking at sound in just the name of it. Try to take away, this was really actually helpful to me, that I find is taking away the story of it. It was funny, one time I thought I heard the TV and I asked someone and they're like, no, actually I didn't have it on. So it was actually someone downstairs who had TV on, or maybe it was voices I was hearing outside. So getting rid of that story, it's not always true what we're thinking in our brains. And it's not about being true or untrue, it's, okay, I hear a car outside. No, instead of saying, car, you can go, vroom. Noticing how loud it is. Is it constant? Does it go from quiet to noisy? Is it in the background? What does it feel like? Where are you noticing it? Slowing it down and really getting curious. They talk about being curious. Sometimes I roll my eyes at that. Oh, getting curious. But just having an open awareness. Just being open. Being like, okay. Noticing where there's silence. Write this. I'm going to say it 3 times. Thoughts are not necessarily facts. Thoughts are not necessarily facts. Thoughts are not necessarily facts. No. Because you think it, that doesn't mean it's true. Good or bad, right or wrong. It's just coming. They say you can picture it like clouds coming and going. That one doesn't always work for me. Maybe a thought is, it actually could just be a color that you see. Sometimes I noticed as I continue to do this, I would notice energy in my hands. Maybe you're noticing something like that at the end. So there are benefits you're getting. It's not just, okay, great, I can be with uncomfortable. Well, that's a lot of fun. That's why I came to be born, was to feel uncomfortable shit. No. Presence doesn't have to be filled with anything. You don't have to think or feel anything at all. I talk about this a lot in my book. You don't have to think something or feel something, even just the sense of clarity. Being clear, or nothing, or neutral, or neutrality. That is totally fine. Session 5. Allowing and letting be. So, returning deliberately to uncomfortable sensations with kindness. And that's where I talked about what is self-care. Again, that's something to look at, and a future topic that I'm sure you will see from me is what is self-care. I'd like to hear from you. What is that? As an example, thoughts, emotions, body sensations. So this was really interesting. So we looked at depression, so the thoughts that are depressing, when you're feeling depression or sad or whatever you want to call it, is what are the thoughts that you have? Like, oh, nothing is ever going to work out. Or the emotion, I just feel lethargic and tired. Or maybe it's the body sensation. I just feel like crying. I just want to cry. And the behavior, impulse to act, I just want to go to sleep. I want to hide in my bed and I just don't want to wake up. Whoa, heavy. Okay. Noticing as they're all connected. Anxiety could be self-blame or racing thoughts. Fear of the inability to cope. Oh my god, fight or flight mode, I can't deal with this. And as we do these things, you'll notice you start to have more tolerance. It doesn't mean, again, a quick pick, pill, mindfulness pill. Everything's fine now. But waiting to respond and how things affect you, it does slowly start to change. The more you use it, the better you get. Now, here's the thing I found really awesome. So we talked about as a group, this is why, again, I really suggest go to group. I'm going to keep repeating this, repeating, so you get to try and go and see if you can and do this. So we looked at the depressive and anxiety. Personally, for me, I don't really have depression. I know people who have anxiety thoughts. They come up, and even if you don't identify with the depression or anxiety, how many of us really focus these days? Our focus is so much changed than it was from 20 years ago. The amount of data that we have, we can look at so much information, and just being able to focus and feel good. It's no wonder people are feeling or experiencing what they have, and I think that it's great. The internet is a technology to bring all of us together, but it's also making us go a little woo-woo. When you're feeling something uncomfortable, what do you do? There's a question to ask yourself right now. What do you do? Not judging right or wrong, what do you do? And then at the end of it all, was really funny, is we looked at all of it, and the one who was the instructor, this was so awesome, is just repeating it back, is using it almost with love. It was like, all right, racing thoughts, woo! Woo! Shortness of breath! Yeah! Let's do it! Right. And that was so funny. And it made me laugh. And it takes the power out of it a little bit. It's like, okay, racing thoughts. I see you. There you are. And there were times where I had these experiences where I had it come up again. We're not trying to change it. We're just, what did you notice? But you know what? This is where I'm going to have things a little bit different. There was one time where I noticed I felt something uncomfortable. This does not happen every time. And I was like, okay, let's feel this. Come on, bring it on. I want to feel it. Let's turn it up. Let's feel even more pissed off. Yeah, turn it up. Come on, I'll feel it. Let me feel it. It's okay. And I'm going to kick its ass. Yeah, let's feel that. All right. And it went away real quick. Again, not trying to change it, but it was like, huh, interesting. Because you're taking the fear out of it. Oh God, I feel that, think this. How much does society tell us that it's okay to feel that? How many times do we say, how are you feeling? I'm good. I'm okay. I'm good, thanks. How are you? That was such a deep conversation because I'm so afraid to have a real one. Come on. Come on. It's not just about being real. Well, I told the truth. You know, I want to be truthful. How did that work for you? Yes, be truthful, whatever you have happening. Continuing your homework for that week. In session 5, the 5th week, 3-minute breathing space. The 3-minute breathing responsive space, or 3-minute responsive space, whatever you want to call it. And then you're going to do the BBSTE, breath, body, sounds, thoughts, emotions, plus introducing a difficulty. That also one was extremely helpful. If I had to choose any out of the program, that one is really helpful, but that's usually later on. Because, again, you're noticing breath, the body, the thoughts, the sounds, taking the story out of it less, just like, okay, this is what's happening, let me feel it, all right? And uncomfortable, bringing it all up and it's sort of integrating a larger scope and perspective of what's going on. Like, here's a tip someone gave. If you're looking in your phone and you want to have a different awareness, looking at your phone, so this is my world. The phone and me, oh hey, yeah. Look at the phone and look around the phone. You see the light. Anyway, it's an interesting one. Try it. Let me know how it goes. So allowing, repeating, what can I do if I could be with this? Restlessness is here, not I am restless. Reading that again. Restlessness is here, okay. Feeling a bit overheated. All right, well maybe I'm going to take off the shirt and put on a different shirt. All right, maybe it is an action to take. Maybe it's really not. Maybe, here's a big one. Maybe I don't have to do anything at all. What if I could just be with this? Maybe there's absolutely nothing I have to do. That's a big one. That's not what society tells us. Maybe there's nothing I have to be at all. Okay, so noticing avoidance. Less body, more mind. So getting curious, what does that feel like when you're feeling angry? Okay, noticing, is it around your brain? Do you feel it in your head? Do you notice it in your neck, your throat? Do you feel tense? Tension is happening? Noticing tension in my shoulders. That's interesting. You talk about breathing into it, going, can you breathe into that feeling and sort of, on the out breath, trying to exhale, release it? We have more tolerance than we realize. This is so big. We really do have more tolerance. Sort of let things come and go. We can accept it or reject it. Say that again. We can accept what we're feeling or we can reject it. And how many times have we been told, don't think that, don't feel that, you're supposed to be this way. Pay attention to me. I'm sorry you're reading right now. No, but I want to talk to you. This is important. Or at work, like, how could I be kind to myself right now? And if you're still feeling the avoidance stuff happening, okay, that's fine. But just ask yourself this. The longer I run away from it, is this going to cause me more pain if I'm just not feeling it? So why don't I just deal with it now and rip the Band-Aid off? Maybe that would be a lot easier. Again, they may not always be the way that is you're going to choose. But just try that. You might have a concern. Am I making the wrong choices? And here's the question. Is there such thing as a wrong choice? Is there such a thing? What makes something right or wrong? Session 6. Thoughts are not facts. I mentioned that earlier. Here it is coming up again. A choiceless awareness. Some are just habits. Can you breathe with it? Noticing the warning signs. So for me, I notice sometimes pain in the brain, around the head, almost like a band. Sometimes it's a band, sometimes it's top of the head, but usually in the head area. It can be like a dull headache. Okay, I'm noticing start of discomfort having there. I'm thinking or something too much is happening. A plan that we can decide what our triggers are. For example, for me, lack of communication. When someone at work Or our people are not communicating and I'm communicating to them and they're not communicating back. And getting clear about, okay, well, I'm being clear and they're not, and what the hell? Why didn't they just say something? I did, and why don't people just talk to each other? We have the internet, we're so connected, yet we can't even talk to each other and have a real conversation. What the hell? You know, like Bad Reputation, you know that song by Joan Jett? Anyone? There's no communication. I don't care about a bad reputation. That's me. Don't. Just communicate. That's it. Okay, that's my trigger. So, am I going to be able to control everybody? What feels easier? God damn it, why can't they just talk? Oh, they are. Or, okay, they don't communicate. I do, and I did, and I'm grateful for those who do, and hopefully I'll find someone where people are communicating. How many friends do you have where you ask them? I know this seems like uncool, but ask them, like, how do you like to communicate? Some friends don't like phone, some like email. Do you like hearing from me once a week? Do you like being the only one who contacts? Do you want them to ask you once a month to email you? Hey, how are you doing? Or do you always be the one that communicates? Maybe that's something for you. So just noticing the triggers, where in your body the stuff comes up. Noticing. Number 1 was that. Number 2, what sort of thoughts run through your mind when you first feel your mood dropping? Example, racing thoughts. I just want to feel comfort and move on. I just want to move on. Sometimes that thought comes for me. Okay, just noticing that's a thought. Okay. 3, when emotions show up. Fear or anxiety. Could be there. Or discomfort. Or whatever. 4, what happens in your body. And you may seem like this is repetitive, but again, it's different ways of experiencing. My breathing is shallow. I have a dull headache. When I start to feel a dip in my mood, I'm not really present. Or I want to escape and go online. Number 5, this one's really interesting. What do you do or feel like doing? So do you go for a walk, or do you want to focus on something else? And an interesting thing I found at the end of the program is I noticed that I started to accept more of the darker shadow work aspects of yourself. You know what, maybe I feel like wanting connection with somebody today. Maybe I'm feeling like sometimes I want to feel good for me, and sometimes I am selfish. Is that okay? I think so. 6, are there old habits or thinking that may keep you from being okay? Example, always running online. Is that going to help you encourage thoughts and feelings that you don't like? Maybe there's other ways of being. Homework, looking at the BBSTE, breath, body, sounds, thoughts, emotions, plus difficult sensation. Continuing with the 3-minute breathing space. Continuing with the 3-minute responsive space. Session number 7. I can't do a 7 right now, but 7, there you go. 7 is, how do I best take care of myself? Ooh, that's a big one. Seems so simple, but is it? It evolves. It's different. Just try things. They may be different on different days. Here's was an interesting one. They mentioned this. When you close your eyes, imagine a typical day. Think of all the activities you do in the day. All of them could be, I'm watching TV, I go check email, making a healthy meal for myself, meditating, not meditating, having a conversation, texting somebody, whatever, Facebook. Now, with all the activities you have today, I had about 20. Try and choose 20. Again, a typical day. I know some people have different experience these days, especially our work-life balance is different. And I want you to rate them in this pattern. You put N, D, or O. N means nourishing. You find this is nourishing for you. D, it is depleting. Actually, it doesn't make you feel that much better, even though you think it does. Or O is neutral. It's not really good or bad, it just is. For example, for me, internet, not all bad, but wasteful sites is depleting for me. Yet sometimes I do it. Why the hell am I doing that? Why? So you're noticing the link between your activities and your mood. Maybe it's, I notice I feel really good when I feel wearing light clothing. Or it's nourishing when I wear dark clothes today. And maybe when I put the clothes out the night before, I find that really nourishing. And when I wear clothes that don't really fit right, or I'm hanging on to clothes that it's not really good or bad, it just kind of is. Maybe it makes me depleting because it thinks, God, why can't I lose the weight? Now, there's the next question. Are there ways to change your activity from a depleting to a neutral or positive by something of your way of a new perspective, because some things we can't change. Maybe there's a coworker that whenever you talk to them, it is depleting. Is there another way you can behave with them or a way to look at them? Go, you know what? They just don't know about this kind of law of attraction stuff. I think I'm going to give them a break. You know what? They're always going to be reacting. Maybe they're getting therapy. I don't know their story. And I'm just going to take care of me. And maybe I'll just use those sort of breath, body, sounds, emotions, BBSTE. And just when I'm with them, I can just hear them as sounds like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. Or example of somebody who's driving their car. Is there a way you can make that more nourishing? So there's traffic. Maybe there's a playlist you can make and change it up every week or every month. That makes you feel good so you enjoy that drive, or listening to a podcast or something, or healthy snacks, or whatever it is for you. Like little things that you can do. When you're having the depleting things, just ask yourself this question when you're noticing it. What do I need right now? What do I need right now? Like now. What do I need right now? Or can I let it go? Notice the emotion of that one. Can I let it go? Or do I need to address it? Do I need to address it? If so, how? Is it a shift in attitude, like I mentioned? Or is it a direct thing like, hey, maybe it's letting a supervisor know, letting them know, you know what, I really like working with you. When you do this to me, sometimes I feel a bit attacked. Is there a way we can co-create together better? Sometimes workplaces aren't open to it, so you have to use your own course, your little map, find what's right for you. Anxiety or uncomfortable sensations. Remember I mentioned the 10-pound versus 100-pound weight? So here we go. Here's some questions. 1. What skillful response could you use to the pain of anxiety or fear or depression or whatever you're feeling? 2. How could you respond to the turmoil of thoughts and feelings without adding to it? So example, maybe I do mindfulness. Maybe I take 5 deep breaths and go. Maybe I listen to a song. Maybe I take myself out and go to the bathroom. Maybe I need a quick cry. It's not really always me, but maybe that is for you. 3. How can you best care for yourself at this difficult time? Activities, people, small things you could do. Now we come to the choices part, where I mentioned choices. So what happens if I do nothing? I mentioned it before. Saying it again, what if we do nothing? That's a big one for me. Because again, that's not what society says. What happens right now with the choices? I don't have to do anything at all. I just have to sit down. And just sit. Or you think of the doors like Alice in Wonderland. She has the fortress of doors. And here's some different door options. Door 1, let go. There's actually no numbers. Maybe it's the door of action, taking action. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to talk to them about this, or I find a new job, or whatever action is for you. Or I'm getting some new clothes, or I'm going to start flossing, whatever. Self-care, maybe that's having a cup of tea. Maybe it's listening to a song, dancing. Maybe it's talking to a friend. Whatever self-care is for you, be with it. There's that door. What if I can be with this? So in being present with the experiences, maybe I can just be aware of it and choosing to focus on other things. And reminder, I said this earlier, sometimes you have to have the thought, I don't have to like this, is nourishing. That's a nourishing thing. I talked about nourishing, depleting. So when you did the nourishing, depleting, and neutral, after you did that, wanted to mention, then you look at, okay, is the activity I'm doing, is it pleasurable? Is it a sense of accomplishment, or is it a social thing? You might notice more than you realize, and you go, oh, actually, I'm just looking for a sense of accomplishment, or maybe it's, I really want to be around people more. Whatever it is, do that also with all the topics you did of the activities through the day. Do that after. So first you do the neutral, is it nourishing, depleting, or neutral? And then PAS, is it pleasurable, accomplishment, or social? Maybe it's a combination of them. Now, and this is a lot of homework, I know, but add in one nourishing activity. Plan out a 5-week daily meditative or mindfulness or whatever practice. This is what it is. How do I take care of myself? We're almost done. So plan that out. What does that look like for you? Are you going to need accountability with that? Find a way. And we've made it to session 8. If you've listened this far, congrats. Session 8. 8. Burning 8. Don't hesitate. I know I had to. Is endings are not beginnings. It's not, here's an interesting one. It's not I started and stopped sentence. It's not that you can't focus. I did that on purpose. Maybe it's that you're distracted. It's not that you can't focus. Say you're on the computer. Okay, not that I can't focus. I'm focusing on the computer right now. I'm just distracted. Maybe I'm avoiding what I'm feeling. Aversion. You're just having aversion. That's all. And we're moving again towards choice. We're not a victim of autopilot anymore. It's going to happen some days. All right. Noticing, they said, I roll my eyes at this one, but I'm going to share it because one of the instructors did. The author, John something Zinn, I think that's his name. Again, I'll put it down below. Said, not meditating is meditating. I kind of go, oh shit, with that one. I'm like, oh yeah. But what they really mean by that is, do you notice when you're not doing awareness versus doing awareness, the difference? So that's what they mean by not meditating is meditating. Interesting way to look at it. Maybe, maybe not. I have other ways in my book, Easy Enlightenment, but anyway, letting you choose that for yourself. You can chew on that for a while. Every moment is different. There's no right answer or practice. I had to repeat that to myself, and I'm saying that to myself right now. Lewis, every moment is different. There's no right answer or practice. As much as you want it, I'm sorry, there isn't. Because right or wrong is defined by society anyway. Continuing with the 3-minute breathing space, still schedule that 3 times a day. And doing that, that's something that I would really strongly recommend. Minders' thoughts are not facts. Stay curious. Is this just a habit or a freedom? That's a really good one. I haven't always asked this. Is this just a habit, or is it what I'm doing free? Is this freeing me? Don't abandon yourself. You don't always have to leave a situation or a feeling. And at least once a week or once a month, maybe you could try doing a review of all these notes that you've been taking or not taking. Again, how much you take of this is up to you. How are you going to make this happen for you? Let me ask yourself 3 questions at the end, if you've really done this in the week 8. What did you learn? What will you take from this experience? Example, being kinder to yourself. Some tools, practice, being patient. It's a big one for me. And 3, how will you support your mindfulness? Will you do 3-minute breathing space? Response space? You come up with a plan? You know, when possible, they gave some suggestions, just focus on one thing. When you can, just focus on one thing instead of 3 billion things. Notice your distractions. That's a really big one. Investigate that for yourself. When the mind wanders, just gently bring it back. 1 billion times. I hope these have given you some kind of idea. This is, again, a crash course in mindfulness. Here's an 8-week program you can do for yourself. I recommend going to a mindfulness group where you can actually sit and discuss with other people. Here's something you can also try on your own. Maybe tell a friend you're doing it. Email them once a week and give them your report. If you have a nice friend who is someone safe you can share it with, or yourself. And it's something you can try and use new tools to experience new ways. It's a new decade. It's time that we notice, yes, technology is here to stay. It doesn't seem like it's going away. It's actually increasing. So if our focus is going to be pulled to this technology and away from the natural world of how things really are, these virtual worlds, then trying these sort of mindful experiences and creating your own way can be something that could be so enriching, more than you even know. So with that, I hope you noticed an improvement in how you're feeling and feeling curious about trying this for you. And let me know down below what you'd like to see more and what's working for you.